Well, good morning, YouTube. Arizona RE here, and I've sort of staged my working area to install the Leo Vinci exhaust on the Triumph Tiger. So in staging my working area, just real quick here, because I get some questions about my shop and how I have things set up. I always break out a table when I'm going to work on something. I like to have every object that I'm going to use for the project set out in front of me, and I have another table in case I need to overflow. Now in the past I would use my tool trolleys or my tool carts, but they each have their own purpose now. This one has my spanners, sockets, and regular tools. This one right here has a lot of the power tools. This cart over here has the all the specialty tools that you might need for HVAC and stuff like that. You know, fuel line pullers and all that crazy stuff. And then this cart over here houses all my electronics. So whenever I'm working on electronic stuff, need to do wiring, all those tools are held in that one spot. The tools I'm most readily accessed sit on top of the bench. So that being said, it's always good to have a place to lay your stuff out. When you take a part off the car or off of a motorcycle, you place it where you can see it. And vice versa, you place something that you want to put on the vehicle right here so that you can go back to it. If you use a tool, instead of just throwing it down in the top of your toolbox or putting it down on the floor where you're going to have to bend over and pick it back up again, and you end up getting fatigued. So just kind of how I work my workspace. I usually have to back a motorcycle out because I don't have enough room to do everything that I want to do in here. But we're looking to remedy that situation too. Anyway, let me get the rest of this package unlocked, and I'll bring you guys back up. Alright, so what comes in the package here? We've got a book of instructions, which I gotta admit, it's a pretty heavy book, but only because it's written in Italian, English, French, Spanish, and German. But basically the instructions are on the very next page here, and what they say is, look at the picture and assemble the pipe. So you don't get a lot of leadership from the pamphlet. You get a nice Leo Vinci sticker. There was one on the exhaust pipe itself. I just didn't like the look of it. As much as these things cost, I feel like I shouldn't have to advertise for them. So I put it on the front of my tool cart. It peels right off with a fingernail. Just popped right off. Didn't harm the finish on the pipe at all. So here we have the Leo Vinci Evo 2 exhaust for the Triumph Tiger 800 in carbon. We have the long tube to connect to the header pipe coming off of the bike. We have a hanger, spring, the brackets. This is a carbon fiber bracket and carbon fiber support clamps. Okay, so everything I need to take the pipe off is a 12mm socket, 12mm spanner, and a 10mm socket for the clamp that connects to the header pipe. To put everything back on, you're going to need a 6mm Allen head and a 13mm, probably the spanner since those are going to be on the back, so a 13mm wrench for the back. And let's start our disassembly here. All right, let's say that's loose enough. All right, so I know that the header pipe is supported at the header. I know that it's supported again down here just before the cat. I know it's supported after the cat. But one thing I'm always paranoid of is cranking and banging on things that could weaken the bond of the header at the head. I certainly don't want to damage the head. If I was installing an entire system, I would leave that part loose until I got everything on here, and then I would button everything up. But given that this is just a cat back system from the catalytic converter back, and I think we can wiggle this off without too much ado, but I will support the old pipe before I pull all the pins out and try to lift it off. And there we go. Now the next thing I like to do, and this is just me and it's just who I am, but I like to do this thing called clean as I go. And since you have this off and you'll likely not be getting back in here again with this much ease, go ahead and clean things up a bit. What's the worst that's going to happen? Something might be clean. Somebody gonna make fun of you for having a clean bike. Actually, that happens. So I'm just using some basic cleaner, no super solvents or anything like that. Just basically something to wet everything down so I can give it a good wipe. Oh, I can definitely see my next purchase is going to be one of those huggers, because this is ridiculous. The amount of filth that's been flung up here from just a few days of riding in the rain. All right, so after a little bit of cleaning there, just the swing arm around the shock and some of the splashing up there, I started to clean the wheel, and I realized that I needed to oil the chain after riding in the rain, so I stopped cleaning the wheel because I'm just going to have to clean it again after I oil the chain. So at any rate, one of the few instructions that are in there that there'll be a graphite gasket on the end of this thing, and there isn't. And it says, if supplied, take care not to crush it. Otherwise, use the supplied gasket, which is this piece of chain in here, chain mail it looks like. And you're going to reuse the factory clamp. So let's take this and gently wiggle it in here. When you're trying to fit these things, you generally want to wiggle as much as you can. Apply steady pressure instead of just trying to strong arm it. And when it comes back around, if you end up needing to give it some pressure or give it some strength or a smack, well, you can get to that point. But in the initial stages here, I'm just going to put my hand on this back pipe, make sure that it's not applying pressure to the head. And it doesn't appear to be. There's another bracket right here that's sort of holding things tight. So I can go ahead and lean on this a little bit now if I wanted to. I'm just going to do a dry fit here real quick. Huh, I wonder what that was. Oh well, if we're missing any pieces, I'll look at it. Yeah, so this is looking about right. And so the next step is to sort of build these brackets out. This is one of those things that I'm uneasy with. It seems like it'd be real easy to damage these. In fact, this particular bracket looked like it might have come off of been used already. If I look at it, I just took it out of the plastic, but if I compare it to the other one, actually they both do. They got dust on them. The carbon fiber's kind of ripped at the corners here. I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of chipped right here. Now, so that will go on the inside, and this will go on the outside. But even on the outside, this has got a few scuffs and nicks. So, you know, I'm not that impressed with it. Gosh, that's a little disappointing. Pipe itself looks brand new, but these brackets right here look like almost like they were reused. So anyway, with carbon fiber, I've never worked with it much before. I know it's lighter. The reason I went with carbon fiber here, not only is the bike black, and I think it will look better, but once I put panniers on the bike, this carbon fiber is supposed to be a little cooler than the stainless steel, so hopefully it won't transmit as much heat to my panniers. So we've got 2 of these. And they're supposed to go through this. Does this have a better side? Perhaps this one. And it's going to be difficult to try and leave this loose because finagling it all into place, I have to leave it loose because I don't know exactly where the clamps need to go yet until I get the pipe set. All right, and I desperately don't want to slide these brackets around because I'm sure it will damage the carbon fiber. So try to leave these things as loose as I can. All right, so as you can see here, these brackets need to come back a ways. And this is the part that makes me nervous. Oh, I hate that crunching sound as they slide. All right, so a little bit tricky to try and get these pieces all together. There we go, tenuously supported. So going from the points we know can be tightened, I'm going to start here because this bracket won't be able to move. It's not going to adjust or shift or anything like that when I tighten this down. However, moving any of this needs the play that I'm getting down here. All right, so I gave it a little snugness there. Crazy birds. So that's just real quick, hand tight. It all still needs to be snugged down. There's no torque measurements in the instruction booklet. Back down to the 10 mil factory bracket, or the exhaust clamp, I should say. Let's see, that's not going anywhere. So we'll put it through a couple of heat cycles. And now the last part is this spring. And I'm assuming this is a spring mount tool. That's what it looks like. It's if not, I've got a spring tool in my toolbox over there. All right, and there's your spring. So we get another clean cloth. I'm just gonna wipe off all my dirty fingerprints and handprints. All that stuff will tend to burn. And of course, when it does, I know on stainless, it'll leave a little mark in there, but on carbon fiber, I don't know if it would stain or cause it issues. And we'll go ahead and give these their final crank. There we are. Oh, and in case you guys hadn't noticed, I've got a new Nelson rig tail bag there. It's just for when I'm busting around town. I also have my Volo light. I'd installed this on my CTX as well. It's got a decelerator in it, so it flashes top bottom when you're decelerating without using the brake. It doesn't respond to the brake lever at all. All right, and here we go. Well, there you have it. I turned it off, and the birds are still singing, so. Man, I'm really wondering, what is this part for?